Hi, everyone. It's Mrs. Hill. I am coming to you from my house again. Welcome to week 6 of distance learning. This week, we're going to read a poem called Oranges by Gary Soto. Gary Soto is a Mexican American author and poet from California. This week, you're going to watch my video, look over the slideshow and anchor charts for reminders. Your slideshow is here. The anchor chart that has been hanging in my classroom and Miss Lackey's classroom is here. Okay, and then you're going to read Oranges by Gary Soto. I'm going to do that for you. Click this link here if you need to get a refresher later. This poem is called Oranges by Gary Soto. The first time I walked with a girl, I was 12. Cold and weighted down, with 2 oranges in my jacket. December, frost cracking. Beneath my steps, my breath before me, then gone. As I walked towards her house, the one whose porch light burned yellow, night and day in any weather, a dog barked at me until she came out pulling at her gloves, face bright with rouge. I smiled, touched her shoulder, and led her down the street across a used car lot and a line of newly planted trees, until we were breathing before a drugstore. We entered the tiny bell, bringing a, a sales lady down a narrow aisle of goods. I turned to the candies, tiered like bleachers, and asked what she wanted. Light in her eyes, a smile starting at the corners of her mouth. I fingered a nickel in my pocket, and when she lifted a chocolate that cost a dime, I didn't say anything. I took the nickel from my pocket, then an orange, and set them quietly on the counter. When I looked up, the lady's eyes met mine and held them, knowing very well what it was all about. Outside, a few cars hissing past, fog hanging like old coats between the trees. I took my girl's hand in mine for 2 blocks, then released it to let her unwrap the chocolate. I peeled my orange that was so bright against the gray of December that from some distance someone might have thought I was making a fire in my hands. Okay, so this poem is about a 12-year-old boy who goes out on a date with a girl and he takes her to a drugstore where you could buy chocolate. And the chocolate cost a dime, but all he had was a nickel. And he wanted to get it for his girlfriend, but he didn't want to say out loud, "Hey, I don't have the money for this." So he took one of his oranges and his nickel and set them on the counter. And in a way, non-verbally told the lady, "Hey, this is all I have." We understand that later on, the lady took his offer of the orange and a nickel because the girl is then eating the chocolate. All right, so next, after you read Oranges by Gary Soto, you're going to answer the questions on the quiz. Let's look at the quiz together. What is your first and last name? Oh, this is worth 2 grades in the grade book, by the way. What is your first and last name? What class period do you have Mrs. Hill or Miss Lackey for English, not RTI? What did Miss Hill say is her favorite fruit in the video? My favorite fruit is a pomegranate. What did Mrs. Hill say is Joel's favorite fruit? Joel's favorite fruit is a banana. What did Mrs. Hill say is Riley's favorite fruit? Riley's favorite fruit isn't really a lime, but she was upset that I woke her up from her nap. And so when I asked her what her favorite fruit was, she said a lime just to get me to go away. What did Mrs. Hill say is Miss Lackey's favorite fruit? Miss Lackey's favorite fruit is a strawberry. What is the title of the poem? In oranges, why does the speaker put one of the oranges on the counter at the drugstore? I gave you that answer. Which statement can best describe oranges? What kind of poem is Oranges? Answer the following. What figurative language of poetry appears in these lines from Oranges? Outside, a few cars hissing past. Think about the figurative language. Which of the following is the best theme for Oranges? Theme is the message the author's trying to give us. Think about the message that the author wants you to know. What best describes the setting of Oranges? The poet gives us the setting in the first stanza. Tiered light bleachers is an example of what figurative language? Think about figurative language and look at the anchor chart if you need help. Who is the speaker in the poem? Who's telling us the story? In Oranges, what problem does the speaker have to solve? What is the best choice for the main idea of Oranges? What is this passage mostly about? The boy's attitude towards a girl could best be described as how does he feel about the girl? Read the following question and choose the best answer. Gary Soto compares the bright color of an orange with the color of a fire. Which of the following lines expresses this thought as a metaphor? Think about the last line in the poem. Based on the final stanza, the reader can conclude that what can we infer about the boy and the girl and their relationship from the last stanza? What would be the best definition for the word bright as it is used in the sentence? I peeled my orange that was so bright against the gray of December. Thinking about the color of the orange, which of these definitions for bright would fit that word? What word best describe the cashier? Think about the cashier's attitude and what happened in the passage. Answer the following question. What would be the best definition for the word released as it is used in the sentence? I took my girl's hand, then released it to let her unwrap her chocolate. Think about the word released and these definitions for the words released and pick the best one. All right, then you can click turn in. Mark is done on Google Classroom and you're finished for this week. I hope that your week goes well and that everybody's staying safe. Please remember that Miss Lackey and I miss you so very much, and we can't wait to see you guys next year.